Hi, my name is Helena Jones, and I will be doing my persuasive speech today on homeschooling. So to start it off, the definition of homeschooling is the education of children at home by their parents. So basically, the whole entire system is your parent teaches you at home what you would be learning in school. My perspective of this homeschooling, before I dove into all this research and actually educated myself on it, I always thought of it as more of a downgrade and a bad thing, because at school you're surrounded by people your own age and you make friends and you're social and you learn all these group ethics and things like that. But then I feel like in homeschooling you aren't really surrounded by a lot of those things and exposed to it. And I feel like more people around the homeschooling environment is more like conservative, into themselves, and just more standoffish and just at home playing video games, or those kind of people. But honestly, it all depends on the way you're taught and the entire all the things that you actually dig into about homeschooling, because there's a lot of cool opportunities and activities people have for homeschoolers, so you're not alone in doing it by yourself. So there's clubs that with other homeschoolers that you can relate to and just be friends with and go to group meetings and things like that. But another thing is, before you really get into homeschooling, there's a lot of things that you need to be able to learn about it before you really actually start doing it. And there's just so many benefits that nobody really actually knows about when you think of homeschooling, because for me, I always thought of it as a negative because of all those things that I didn't even know about. But to start with, there are many laws on homeschooling. Not all places go by it, but for Washington there are rules that you need to follow. There's 5 laws on homeschooling. One is the compulsory attendance. There are parent qualifications. There's required paperwork. There's required subjects, annual testing, and record keeping. To start with, the compulsory attendance, it attentions whether the age in the state of Washington that your child is, which is the age of 8 years old, or the age of the child being in public school. So if your child is already in public school, when you decide to change them into homeschooling, you have to formally withdraw your child from that school. There will be consequences if you just snatch them out and just never send them back. You have to notify and touch base with the people that at the school, like the principal and things like that, to make sure they understand what's going on and things like that. For the parent qualifications, you as a parent, not all places go by this, but for Washington, I believe you have to have learned 45 quarter units of college level credits. So you need that for some places. You also have to attend the parent qualifying course and work with a certified teacher at the school, and your student has to touch base with that teacher at least for 1 hour a week. So that's a requirement. For required subjects, there are 11 of them that your child needs to 100% learn and get to know. So they need to learn it. There's reading, writing, and spelling, language, math, science, social studies, history, health, occupational education, and art and music appreciation. Those subjects you don't have to learn separated. They don't have to be separated when you teach them. You can be learning study of frogs, and that could be a very big combination of many of those subjects. For example, for that kind of study, you can use including the subjects reading, writing, spelling, science, and math. For annual testing, you need to test your child pretty often, just as the school does themselves. And you have to, for the next law needing to be acquired, is record keeping. people ask, and it would be smarter to keep all the records, keep all the assignments, the grades, really keep track of all of that, and keep all the test scores, all the assessments, like make a report pretty much. Those things are pretty private. You can keep it the way you want it. You can organize it the way you want it. They don't really have a specific way you keep track of it. You can keep track of it the way you want. Those are private records that you do not have to share with any state agency whatsoever. But it's just a really another smart way of being able to keep track of all those things for if you decide to put your child back into a traditional public school or private school environment, so that they can have that information on your child and be able to see where they are in their grade or just in general. For parents, there are many reasons why they want their child to be homeschooled. There's things that I will be keeping track on. One of the reasons is more one-on-one time with your child. It's better for the child to have more one-on-one time with you, because rather than being in a classroom with one teacher and like 30 students, it's really hard to really touch base with every single one of them and make sure they're learning what they need to learn, and to make sure they're all understanding 100%, because it's so easy for students just to be like, yeah, I got it. Like, you can't touch base with you can, but they still really don't deeply understand. Like, I feel like during this pandemic and us having to do homeschooling, basically, I personally feel like I'm doing a lot better than I did in school, because it's just way easier for me to get everything done, and I feel like I'm more ahead with everything. It's just way more comfortable, and I do learn faster. Like, the fact that there are more children, you are being able to learn a lot faster being homeschooled than are in school. For me personally, there are just different learning exercises. There's just like, every child has a different learning technique they need in order to actually comprehend and get what they're learning, because some kids are not going to like easily learn the way other students can. Personally, I need to be learned, like, I need to physically see. I'm a visual learner. I need to see multiple examples to be able to actually fluently understand what I need to do. And once I see a couple of examples, I can go to it. I can get through a lot of things and get things done. But some people don't even need that. They can just get it right off the bat. And I think that's something that really needs to be contributed if you are going to be in there. Like, the child yourself would need to like actually like touch base with the teacher. But I feel like it's a lot of things that it's so like unneeded. And just in homeschooling, it's a lot easier for a child to just be comfortable with everything and things like that. Another thing is child learning is much quicker, like I was saying, than learning in public or private school for that same reason. Another thing is some families just have their own opportunity to be able to educate their child in their own morals, values, and beliefs, so they don't have to go on with the way someone else is teaching their children. Recently, before this pandemic, there has been a recent large homeschool growth from 1999 to 2020. But before this whole pandemic, there had been like a little 4.5% decrease in homeschooling. But this number has skyrocketed since the whole pandemic has started, because now the schools are shut down and everyone is having to homeschool their children or just online learning. Homeschooling is approved in all of the 50 states as well as their counties in the world. Although it seems like many feel it is their right to stay home and homeschool their child, it is not that easy. It's really not. It's hard, and I get it. Each state has their own laws that need to be followed, and I will share that state law. Again, there's more little intimacy inequalities where I have recited. Washington State, one of the following must be met. Like I said, the 45 college quarter credits, You need to do the parenting course and work with a certified teacher once a week for an hour, like I had said. Each child will learn differently in their own way, and it's okay. Like I said, I'm a visual learner and some kids are not. However, while in school, other students will catch on when one is lacking. And it's really embarrassing. Not every student is okay with it. Like if you get chosen to just randomly talk and you are like just stuck and you like stutter a little bit, you don't know what to say, it's really embarrassing and it's hard for you because some other kids, they turn that to teasing and bullying. And when a child falls into this place, he or she will become shy and not be allowed to focus or feel free and comfortable to ask for help or share that they are not understanding the material that is being taught to the class, because they don't have their own alone time. They have to raise their hand, and no one really wants to do that. It's really scary, actually. When a child has a one-on-one time with an instructor, he or she will have the opportunity to feel safe and learning in their own space. That also gives the opportunity for the child to freely express to the instructor that they are not grasping onto the lesson, and a conversation can be held about what is not being understood. It's just hard to do that when you're in a class full of 30 students and like everyone's asking for help, and then you're just shy to actually raise your hand in front of the entire class and share your struggle. Again, homeschooling the instructor is allotted time to one of the students. No one gives the instructor the opportunity to move as quick or as slow as the child is needing. It is noted that when an instructor is sharing information with the child, the one-on-one lesson is grabbed easily, as there are no other distractions and other students messing around and moving around and being loud or doing something inappropriate. The two individuals are engaging in the lesson 100%. With this being done, lessons have a possibility to move along much quicker than we see it done in a normal classroom filled with 30 students. Lastly, being found, one of the most important reasons for homeschooling is having the chance to raise your child with the family's beliefs, leaving no door of opportunity to experience outside cultures or behaviors that you do not want your child following. It's because you just have your own different way of teaching them and being able to deal with them. Many families have their own morals, values, and beliefs, which may differ from their neighbors or the community that they live in. Same with the children in the child's classroom, because they are different. They're raised differently. They have different morals and beliefs like their parents, which they are taught as well with their parents, and so it's just collides, and it's not easy. Everyone is entitled to their own beliefs. But when their children go to school with other children, it opens doors to the experience and sees the outside of their family's beliefs. And they get more open to things, and their family wouldn't really like that so much. Not everyone is okay with it being showed and opened up to their child. In public school, the manners are not a subject that is addressed, as it is typically something taught at home. Again, very differently than other parents. Having a child in a home setting for school helps the parent be able to continue their beliefs throughout the day, which eventually becomes a habit and daily routine for the next generation. It's hard for when your child goes to school and sees the other way the children are like acting, and they may like copycat that and bring it to your home, and is not brought to you as an okay thing. They may be disciplined many of times, and it's hard because they see other kids acting like that. They think it's okay. But today, I shared the knowledge and positive benefits that there are on homeschooling children by stating the one-on-one children gaining with their educators versus having to share with 29 or 30 other students in the class. The second, children on showing how they progress quicker. And finally, I stated some family cultural differences with their beliefs, value, morals, and everything like that, allowed to maintain in the child's daily routine, and he or she has less chance of gaining other beliefs and routines and acting like the other children. Thank you so much for listening to my speech. Have a good evening.